Video number 2. What is Bitcoin and Bitcoin Unlimited, I think it's called? Bitcoin Unlimited? Let's make sure. Unlimited. Yeah. Bitcoin Unlimited. Been hearing a little bit about this lately. Bitcoin Unlimited. What the hell is Bitcoin Unlimited? They tried to release a little fork of Bitcoin, but it blew up in their face and had massive hacking or cracks, if you will, in it. Not back doors, but just all kinds of issues. It knocked down a bunch of the nodes, and thinking, what the hell is this? I thought there was just Bitcoin, but now there's Bitcoin Unlimited, and they want to take a fork, and they want to take Bitcoin, which is normally 21 million Bitcoins will have ever been produced, period. And they want to take it to this new thing called Bitcoin Unlimited that's going to have 30 to possibly over 40 million and even growing. What the hell's going on? And Zero Hedge has an article authored by Vinny Lingham, Bitcoin's Fork in the Road. And essentially what he's saying is, guys, everybody, we need to just step away from Bitcoin Unlimited. I honestly think it's not going to become anything, but just in case there's a chance that it does, it's not going to be worth it. And I would highly advise everybody to just leave that alone. Just let it basically crash and burn. Stick with the regular Bitcoin, BTC. Because if this new one comes out, it'll be BTU. And it's going to essentially be like an altcoin. It is literally going to be a different kind of a Bitcoin, but then it's going to cause massive confusion. Well, which Bitcoin are you talking about? The regular Bitcoin or the Bitcoin Unlimited? So I need to do a video on this to basically agree with this and say, stay away from Bitcoin Unlimited nonsense. Stick with the one true Bitcoin that was created. It was the first cryptocurrency of its kind like this. Let it be. Let it be. Let it be. I've been very surprised with the amount of vocal support for a Bitcoin hard fork, especially from many Bitcoin supporters who believe it is either inevitable or not a bad thing. I get it, but you're wrong. I know everyone is tired of the scaling debate. I'm not going to go into the technical details around this debate for this post, but instead, I'm going to focus this post on debunking the non-technical arguments for a hard fork and highlighting the ensuing confusion and market impact that a contentious Bitcoin hard fork will have, if we indeed have a split between Bitcoin Core, BTC, and Bitcoin Unlimited, BTU. Exchanges today have just confirmed they will be listing BTU as an altcoin if there is a hard fork. This scares me because although the industry person knows what an altcoin is, the average person outside the industry does not. This was the catalyst for my post today. I have predicted that Bitcoin should hit $3,000 by the end of the year, but not if there is a contentious hard fork. Keep in mind that the hope of this post is that it changes the mindset around support for a contentious hard fork, which creates another Bitcoin, because I believe this needs to be avoided at all costs. In fact, if any of the scenarios below begin to play out, we're already in trouble. If you agree with the logic below, translate this post into Mandarin and any other language, and let's convince miners in the community to not consider even doing a Bitcoin Unlimited hard fork. Also, even after the big bug in Bitcoin Unlimited yesterday, more nodes are back up and running, signaling it. I know many people don't believe it will happen, and they might be right, but we cannot ignore a persistent and growing threat to the ecosystem, and so I'm speaking out about it now. For my background on the Bitcoin Unlimited versus SegWit debate, check the bottom of this post for links, including a number of technical reasons why a hard fork is a risky proposition for Bitcoin. I'm also not delving into the technical debate, as that has been done ad nauseum elsewhere. Bitcoin's greatest asset is its brand awareness. It's inarguable that Bitcoin is the single strongest brand in the crypto space. I believe it probably received $2 to $5 billion in free media exposure over the years. A hard fork would create two brands of Bitcoin, essentially handing over some brand value to Bitcoin Unlimited. I wrote a post about Bitcoin's power and network effect over 2 years ago. It's worth reading if you haven't read it. The moment there is a hard fork, we are going to allow brand confusion to step in. This is a horrible idea. The security of Bitcoin network comes from the computational hash power that the miners bring. This is driven by the price of Bitcoin. Higher the price, more hashing power is needed. Higher prices are in turn driven by market demand. Market demand is driven by PR and media and the long-term narrative that Bitcoin is the first and only true cryptocurrency, which is a long-term store of value. If we mess with this, I believe we can expect negative consequences. When the media declared Bitcoin was dead in 2014, it took us a long time to recover price-wise. Bitcoin Unlimited will just become an altcoin if it doesn't have majority support. Why does it matter? In the event that 35 to 50% of miners broke away and created an altcoin, in this case, Bitcoin Unlimited, we would essentially then have two coins, Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Unlimited, BTU. One could argue that BTU is not Bitcoin, but it may still be called Bitcoin by the man on the street. For instance, if he buys what he thinks is a Bitcoin to buy some gift cards at Gift, only to discover that he bought the wrong Bitcoin, well, can you imagine the issues that merchants are going to have now in dealing with the customer support fallout? In all or many cases, they may even remove Bitcoin as a payment method unless the business is Bitcoin only, in order to avoid customer confusion or the risk of the individual coins fluctuating in price between purchase and usage. As much as the crypto world is smart enough to understand the differences, the average person barely understands Bitcoin today, and forcing them to tell the difference between BTU and BTC is going to be a big challenge. Hang on one second. Take a drink. And you see that? That is pure reverse osmosis water. Thank you very much. Let's not forget some other important points. Roger Ver, the force behind Bitcoin Unlimited, aka Bitcoin Jesus, also owns the domain bitcoin.com and a number of other strong domain names. And he also owns a couple 100,000 Bitcoins, apparently around 300K BTC. When Bitcoin forks, everyone who is holding Bitcoin, BTC, would receive an equal amount of BTU. Excuse me. So Roger would have presumably 600K coins, 300,000 Bitcoin and 300,000 Bitcoin Unlimited, according to industry rumors. The moment Bitcoin splits, he is able to legitimize Bitcoin Unlimited using Bitcoin.com, which for the uninitiated would actually be a legitimate source of information and is highly ranked on search engines like Google. Bitcoin Unlimited would effectively become Bitcoin.com. My first company was in search engine marketing. I know this world all too well. If there was a fork and Roger wanted to pump Bitcoin Unlimited, he could literally dump all of his Bitcoin, BTC, holdings onto the market. I don't want to even guess what 300,000 plus Bitcoins being moved in short space of time would do to prices, especially after a contentious hard fork where new money investors would already be on the sidelines. This happened to Ether Classic after the Ether fork. The Ether Foundation sold off 90% of their coins and depressed the price. Just the threat of this alone will cause the market to tank for Bitcoin, BTC, that is, just for starters. If Roger wants to kill Bitcoin's price and legitimacy, there is no reason to not fear this, and the market will start pricing in this risk. Roger would not be the only person to sell down Bitcoin. Other Bitcoin ultimate loyalists who have two sets of coins, such as BTC and BTU, would do the same. Initially, in order to drive down Bitcoin, the BTC that is. Conversely, all the long-term BTC holders would now receive equal amounts of BTU. Even the most hardcore BTC holders would probably sell down BTU with all their BTU coins in order to try to crush it. Given the importance of BTC as a reserve asset in altcoins, many traders could use weakness in price to short Bitcoin, BTC, and drive their altcoin prices up. Long story short, none of these scenarios, or any others I can think of, play out well for Bitcoin, either in the markets or the media, and this fundamental divide means that you're going to have increased volatility from both sides as more coins will pour into the market, crushing any demand side-driven rally. The whole point about Bitcoin being a long-term store of value is that there are only 21 million coins ever to be created. Stability, security, and scarcity are the differentiation properties of Bitcoin. A contentious hard fork attacks these properties and will be strongly reflected in the price. After a hard fork, we will be sitting with 33 million Bitcoins, on track for 42 million Bitcoins, and we'll be having arguments about which one is the legitimate Bitcoins for years to come. You can expect legal cases to arise around the use of the brand, as the Ethereum Classic Investment Trust has shown. Imagine someone says, I want to buy Bitcoin. Next question, which one? After that, the very next question will be, what if one of these coins forks again? Then we have 63 million coins, and so on and so forth. But aren't two coins better than one? The market will adjust, right? Let's say the price of Bitcoin today is $1,000. If doing a 75% to 25% split would not mean that you have two coins. This should mean they are worth 1,000, and that would be 750 plus 250. So I did a simplified calculation based on Metcalfe's law, and it estimated the new coins combined could be worth more than 33% less almost immediately after a hard fork due to reduced network effects, and that's assuming everything went well. With the ensuing FUD and negative press media, you can expect this to drop even further. Bitcoin's enemies can't wait for an opportunity like this. Creating two networks destroys network effects, payment providers, merchants, etc., and the Bitcoin price is non-linear to size of network, so the two coins combined will not equal the same price. You can compare this to the Ether split. As Bitcoin is at scale, $20 billion, and Ether wasn't at the time, and it definitely set them back. Bitcoin has died many times. It can survive a hard fork. Even Ethereum did. Let's start over. Ethereum is a B2B facing platform. Consumers and media don't know or really care about it. Bitcoin is a $20 billion asset class. And yes, after the media declared Bitcoin dead, after the last bubble, it took us 2 years to rebuild the price by generating demand organically. The media attention this time during the recovery and crossed the price of gold does not even come close to last time when it was taking off like a rocket. If a split is portrayed badly in the media and creates confusion, we will possibly go into another 2 years of sideways and down price-wise. Do we have that much time again with other competitors on the heels? And let's be frank, a hard fork is not Bitcoin dying, it's Bitcoin duplicating. Now we have two Bitcoins. Both won't die. Maybe one will. Which one's the real Bitcoin? Do not underestimate how many enemies Bitcoin has. A fork will just give them all the ammunition they need to confuse the market. Well, who cares if 30% of the miners fork off? Bitcoin's price is a function of faith and network security, given the large amount of computing power that goes into it. Metcalfe's law dictates that the value of the network is the square of the network. By splitting the network even 70 to 30, it's inarguable that it's less secure. Yes, it could be rebuilt, but depending on the price of each coin after the split, hash power may move from one coin to the other. These are called highly specialized machines, and one coin surges in price, you can expect hash power to follow suit. Remember that one of the biggest mining companies, Bitmain, is now signaling support for Bitcoin Unlimited. It's very clear that the current difficulty of Bitcoin makes it harder and harder to compete in this market, but after a hard fork, there would need to be a difficulty adjustment on both new forks, given the reduced hash power. This opens up the opportunity for Bitcoin mining companies to sell more hardware to miners on both sides of each coin. The sales of mining equipment are a huge economic disincentive to maintain the status quo without a block size increase, unless the Bitcoin price surges, which I don't believe will happen unless SegWit is adopted, and then this debate is over. I called 1300 as a key resistance level, and it's proving to be. Bitcoin was largely built on the premise that economic forces and self-interest would help govern the security of the network. We talk a lot about decentralization, but the reality is that the hardware that powers Bitcoin is produced by a handful of companies who also control mining pools, which can be used against the network. Bitcoin has a product and people problem, not a technical problem. A fork will resolve it because both sides get what they want. The real issue, I believe, is twofold. The community wants Bitcoin to be all things to all people. Roger wants cheap coffee transactions. Core wants to ensure it's sufficiently decentralized and secure. Vinny wants a store of value, etc. We have a governance problem in Bitcoin, and we have no way to resolve conflict except to fight about it publicly, and given that it's quasi-democratic, unless we all agree on something, nothing gets done. This has burned a lot of people, and I can see why we have so many altcoins out there trying to replace Bitcoin. Bitcoin cannot be all things to all people, at least not for a long time. Right now, it needs to be stable, secure, and unchallenged. We can continue to argue amongst ourselves as a community, but for now, I am against any contentious hard fork that would see us creating two separate code bases with two different brands of Bitcoin. Companies like Coinbase, BitPay, Gift, BitPesa, BitGo, and many others have invested years to build consumer adoption and understanding of Bitcoin and create outlets for people to use it. A fork now would undermine all these efforts, investments, and limit adoption of Bitcoin in general. Unlike in the Ethereum hard fork, hundreds of companies use Bitcoin, and this would lead to a lot of counterproductivity. Companies should be focused on advancing adoption of their products, not in protocol fights. This debate has already been a strain on the community. I understand and appreciate many of the different perspectives, some which I have not had the time to mention in this post, but given a balance of risks to the Bitcoin ecosystem, I believe that the adoption of SegWit right now is imperative in order for us to get to the next stage in the evolution of Bitcoin and remove the risks of contentious hard fork. The core dev team has had a lot of criticism leveled at them, and clearly they are not good at community relations, managing perceived conflicts of interest like Blockstream's involvement, which has resulted in emotions flaring up against them, which is causing an uprising of sorts, as we are now seeing. Technically, however, it's inarguable that they are the best technical team in Bitcoin today. If we all just breathe out and put aside our differences and emotions, even just for a while, let's accept that doing a hard fork right now is not in the best interest of Bitcoin, and let's please just adopt SegWit. This post is not trying to be an endorsement or critique of either Bitcoin Unlimited or Core. This post is asking the community to put aside their differences and come together to prevent an irreparable splinter. I'll keep posting more links below. Here are a few starters, etc. So this was posted by Zero Hedge. This guy, authored by Vinny Lingham, which is his website, vinnylingham.com. Considering what the WebBot has said, and I fired off an email tonight, hey, Cliff High, is there anything about Bitcoin Unlimited? I sent him this link. Are your bots hearing anything about Bitcoin Unlimited? Like, to see if there's anything there. Because if he happens to say, oh, you know what, there actually is, I'm picking stuff up on this, and it looks like that we're going to go towards that, you need to make sure you start getting some of those. I will let you know. I don't know that that's going to happen because he has not said it before, and it's just straight up BTC, 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 Bitcoin, the standard core. And those were the prices he was giving in BTC. $1,000, $1,291. The next move is $1,408, I think. And then after that is $2,300, then a big pullback, and then it's going to keep going. By next year, it should be thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, according to Cliff High. But I did want to fire that off in case he hasn't, that word Bitcoin Unlimited for some reason was like not being captured. Maybe he can take a peek at that. Again, if I hear anything to the contrary or whatever, I'll let you know. If he replies, no, all's good, it's fine. Don't sweat it. It's just mean keep stacking your Bitcoin. I have a feeling that that's what's going to happen anyways. I feel like he would have already found this information and would have shared it by now. But it doesn't hurt to ask, you know what I mean? Just to make sure in case there's something poking out in those reports or the newest report that he's about to release in, another couple weeks. So I wanted to share that. It's something to keep your eye on, but my gut feeling is that Bitcoin's going to be fine, the standard typical Bitcoin. But, we'll see. Take care.